roast beef. Thank you. Isa Black. Thank you, Isa Black. Isa was in the audience yesterday. Apparently you left this with the audience producers, and they got it to me. Thank you. I do appreciate it. And thank you, Wendy Feldman, Teresa Judy's crisis manager, who Teresa fired, for those beautiful flowers. And the bag of Jolly Ranchers. So, on Monday, we were talking on Hot Topics about how Teresa Giudice quit, or her crisis manager, Wendy Feldman, quit on her. And and then I was talking about what was in the commissary at this prison that Teresa will be going to. And I was talking about how they have, you know, name brand shampoos like Pantene and stuff, and you know, the commissary has like good stuff, including candy. And I said, Jolly Ranchers, and you know I love a Jolly Rancher. Oh, you guys, what am I going to do with you? I got some of your questions, and I'm all ready. Can I just have one more bite, please? I have Miracle Whip on it, but the Grey Poupon, I just love some Grey Poupon mustard. I haven't taken off my clothes because I'm going to an interview and then from there for a business lunch. So I might as well just leave the clothes and wig on. I'm not leaving for another hour though to do those things. I have a bunch of clothes to try on though in the bathroom, so. From Emsor. All right. By the way, you send some pretty good questions, a lot of you, and but you know I can't get to them all, not all at one time. Do you know? And you know what else I like? I like that you help one another. It's like our own community here, you know, at the Wendy Show. You're a part of that community after show, so when you see somebody has a problem, many of you actually help that person figure it out. And I like some of the advice that you give to one another. Thank you. All right, now this one is from Philip P. And Philip says, "Hi Wendy, how you doing? I want to become a TV host just like you. I recently went to the principal of the school that I'm studying TV communications in, and he told me, look boy, you have a lot of potential, but you need to lose some weight and work out to be able to work in this business. There is no place for fat people here. I was completely heartbroken. I felt absolutely disgusted about myself. I want to lose weight, not because of my job, but because of myself. Has anything similar ever happened to you? And what would your advice be? Love and kisses from Greece." No, that hasn't happened to me. All my fat shaming happened at the hands of my parents. When I was younger, my father would say, you know, you have a pretty face if you would just lose some weight. And at that time, they knew that I wanted to be a news anchor. So the people who were supposed to love me the most fat shamed me the most. And they also watched the after show. So you know who I'm talking to, Mommy and Daddy. But I will say, it was very mean and discouraging what your principal said. Of course there's room for heavier people on TV. Everybody does not have to be bone thin. And besides, you want to be a TV talk show host. You know, it's not like you're looking to be, you know, the leading man in Magic Mike. If you want to lose weight for yourself. I don't know how fat you are. I mean, are you a little chunky or are you obese, Philip? Either way, lose weight for yourself. Realize that TV adds weight. And so, real talk, what I will say to you is, first time you see yourself on TV, you're going to want to lose weight. You're going to want to lose weight. You're not going to want to put up with that. So, good luck, young man. You know, since you're still studying, you've got a few years before you finally, you know, land on TV with your own talk show. So start working on yourself now. Honestly. TV adds like 20 pounds. Easily. The one thing that I get all the time, every time that I'm out and run into people, they say, First of all, you look better in person than you do on TV because of the amount of makeup, I guess, and stuff. And, you know, I only wear a little bit of makeup in person. But also, oh my gosh, you're not that big. It's almost insulting. Or you're not that tall. You know, yes, I am tall. You know, I wear my stature as a badge of honor because I realize it's a rare thing for a woman to be, you know, big boned and tall and something that I used to hate, I now love. But, yeah, TV adds 20 pounds, Philip. So, you know, get on the treadmill and get started, young man. That was very mean of your principal, though. He's the first one that I would go back and see when I make it big. I blow imaginary smoke in his face. Okay, Brian is in the UK, and Brian says, I'm about to enter college, and I'm very passionate about reaching my goal of becoming a journalist, but I'm afraid to fail. I keep worrying about how I will achieve my goal, and what if it doesn't happen? When you started out in your radio career, and when you started to develop your show, were you afraid of failing, and if so, how'd you deal with it? Because you're afraid to fail, you're in your own way. You realize that, don't you? Everybody has a certain fear of failure, whether they admit it or not. Of course I was afraid to fail in radio. Of course I was scared that this TV show wouldn't work out. But I'm brave. You're not. You need to get brave. And don't tell people that you're scared. They'll use it against you. I mean, you told me, Brian, but don't tell anybody that you're scared and you're afraid to fail. People look at that as a sign of weakness. You know, good luck as a journalist, because if you're going to be so scared, then there are plenty of other people who would love to be in your spot as a future journalist. Don't let them win. You know, failure's a part of life. Are you kidding me? It is what it is. Okay. Zen Master says, Wendy, my friend wants... Wait, I can't see. Okay. Wendy, my friend wants to wait until she gets married to have sex. I, on the other hand, feel she should do it once with the person and see how it is before fully committing. Should I tell her, what are your thoughts on sex before marriage? I'm all for it. I'm all for sex before marriage. I feel as though, you know, when you buy a car, you take it for a test drive. You know, you want to know what you like and what you don't like. And I'm not saying sleep around town, but I do feel as though it is not practical for young men and women, to save their virginity until marriage. I know it's the godlike thing to do, but this is 2014. It's just not practical. And what if he's too big for you? Or too small for you? Or something, you know, curves the wrong way. Yeah. I wouldn't tell your friend, though. Because when people who save their virginity like that feel very strongly about it, it's a weird thing. They feel very strongly about it. At least in my experience, I found that. It's not a discussion. You know, people who save their virginity, and that's that. And there's nothing that you can do. How old, Zen Master, how old is your friend? How old are you all? And is she in a fully committed relationship right now that's leading to marriage? It's just not practical. Sleeping around is hoary and slutty. But I feel as though a woman should have a handful of lovers before she gets married. Does that make sense? All right, and here's my last one. Gee, Tristan, I wish you printed more.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Don't yell at me, yell at him.
Thanks.
Tristan's blocking. Okay. By the way, the girls from Sephora were here the other day. Thank you so much for bringing all this great makeup and stuff. I appreciate that. Okay. How you doing? Oh, this is from Tasha P. Tasha says, how you doing, Wendy? This might sound a little petty. However, it is really starting to annoy me. My friend is a serial food moocher. meaning she will dip her fingers into everyone's dish whenever we order something. Just like you, I'm a foodie, and I hate sharing all the time. Should I say something or continue to allow her to eat? Nope, 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 nope. Not only don't I like a food moocher, you know, somebody who picks off my plate and stuff, which, by the way, nobody's ever done that to me, except for my husband. Nobody's ever done that. You must have a particular personality that makes people think that they can just reach and take off your plate, like your friends. I don't know. I would say something, and I would say something quick. And you know what? Not only don't I like a food moocher, I don't like to share my food. I don't like to share my food. I hate, there's a particular place here in the city, they have great food, you know, Budokan. I know you and Margot eat there. But they've got that family, not family style, but you know what I'm saying? Like everything comes to be shared at the table. But I go there, I like the food. I don't like to share my food though. I don't want to give you half of my sandwich. I don't want to, I'd rather wrap it up and eat it later. I don't want you to have a taste. I'm the one who, you go out for dinner with people. Somebody might look at my plate and say, that looks really good. What is that? Wow. I always think that they're hinting that they want to taste. No, don't dip your germ-laden fork in my thing. I'm not giving you any of mine. And furthermore, I'm not going to ask any of yours. So I don't like to be mooched or share. And I don't mind if you don't like to be mooched or share either. Turnabout's a fair game. Gee, I wish that I had more questions. There's a gentleman from Scotland who sent me something. God, I wanted to address you. Oh, I know what it is. And it wasn't you from Scotland, but here's a good one. Somebody asked me, one of you, is it better to be educated through the classroom or through the school of hard knocks? In other words, life. And one of you actually answered that question for that person, and it's the same kind of answer I would have given. It depends on what you want to be. If you want to be a doctor, obviously you have to go to medical school and stuff. If you want to be, a plumber, then that's trade school. If you want to be a radio DJ, technically that's no school. But I always believe in a backup plan. Not to say that school guarantees you employment, but at least it's better than just high school, But, it depends on what you want to be. There's an education for everything, though. God, if you want to be a nail tech, you still go to nail tech school, right? College is not for everyone. I'll be the first one to tell you that. Yes, our son is going to college. And he owes me 4 years, not 2 years, at a community college. And I'm not accepting 5-year plan. No. What is that? Yeah, he's going to go to college. He's going to go to college, and then he can do what he wants with his life. And he understands that. And you want to know what? He's going to go to college for a number of reasons. Of course, the education, but the other part, the education in the classroom, but the other part about college that I adored way more than the classroom is the freedom and the voice and learning about myself. Yeah, there's more than one kind of education in this life. Daddy's here. And you know what I'm making tonight for dinner? Something that my father and my husband love. My son hates everything, so with him, I'm making oxtails, hot sauce, brown gravy and onions. Maybe a little brown rice. Maybe some asparagus. What are you having for dinner? I love you.